Moving on, we have another Paul Cezanne here. This one quite a bit different, but very much the same.
Yes, Portrait de l'artiste par lui-même, or just actually the artist as he can be by himself. And it's kind of an interesting thing, actually, just thinking about that title, which is, this is kind of how he saw himself when no one else was around. And you don't really usually think about that, but here's a guy that was also, Cezanne was an incredibly anal painter. Actually, all he would do is work on one thing. He actually painted a friend of his, Ambroise Vollard, who was a major printer who worked with all of the Impressionists, and he sat for him 115 times in one sitting. And having finished the work at last, Cezanne looked at him and said, "I'm not entirely displeased with the shirt front." I mean, this is the kind of character you have, and this is the kind of detail, and it's like, so this is the guy painting, trying to do himself, which just must have been absolutely agonizing for him. I mean, and you just have to love the details. He's kind of stares at you, where he's actually staring at himself, because this is being done into a mirror.
Sure, right.
So it's you sort of see he's really not all that thrilled with the whole prospect of the thing, and it's like, and it's so great. It's you're getting to see this artist as who he is, but at the same time in the format, this great, this sort of wonderful format of Impressionism, which he's just a piece of art is all he is, and that's all kind of how he looks at himself.
Sure.
You have all this character to it, but and again, you don't have that background. Why? Because the background doesn't really matter in this case.
It does.
Much like you see his his shirt and coat, they all kind of sort of fade away as well, because it's really just about this guy.
It is.
And and you get so much personality through his eyes, and sort of it's not quite a sneer, but it's sort of he's a bit aggravated about the whole thing.
Yeah, certainly. Well, hopefully he didn't have to sit 115 different times to get it
Probably
done.
did,
But
though.
he may have.
Lord knows, could have been double. I mean,
Right.
if he's that fussy about someone else, how fussy would he be for himself?
Yeah, I love the eyes here. You're really drawn in. This seems one of those paintings that once you catch those eyes, you almost can't look away.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of being watched over by one of the great masters of that's ever picked up a brush.
Right.
And
Who better to be watched over by?
yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going to be watched over by anybody rather than a parent or someone else, I'd certainly rather have a grand master.
Certainly. Yeah.
if I had to pick.
Right.
And and again, this is just it's everything that you want out of Impressionism. You can see the deft hand strokes. You can see there's feeling, there's emotion, and it's mundane. And this is what he would wear on a day-to-day basis. This isn't somebody who was dressing up. This is the mundane becoming high art. And that's the Impressionists really in a nutshell.